Airfare's Fastlane products are a skip-the-line pass offered throughout the chain. At Cedar Point, as well as many other parks, there are two versions, Fastlane and Fastlane Plus. I've never purchased a regular Fastlane from a park that offers both, but the only difference between the two is that Fastlane Plus will get you on every ride that offers this queue throughout the park, and regular Fastlane will get you into the Fastlane queue on all but the most popular attractions. If a park only offers regular Fastlane, all that means is that there isn't a second tier that some of the rides are in. You can get on every ride that offers Fastlane in those parks with just the regular version. And so, when I talk about Fastlane Plus here, all of those same things would apply to Fastlane at parks without a second tier, so I won't be differentiating between the two in those cases. Another thing to mention is, in case you weren't aware, there's also an all-season version of Fastlane, but that's a totally different value proposition in my opinion, so this video will be focusing on the single-use daily version. In general, Fastlane Plus is a great product for anyone looking to wait in line less and ride more rides. At many parks in the chain, this will get you on most attractions with a minimal wait, and at times, even near instantly. Cedar Point's version of the product, unfortunately, is a bit more of a mixed bag. For one thing, it's priced significantly higher than other parks in the chain. During peak season, Fastlane will cost you $250 on a Saturday, and the lowest price I've seen for weekdays is around $135, which is, for comparison, only a little less than the Saturday price for Fastlane Plus at Kings Island. But while it's often said that you get what you pay for, Cedar Point's Fastlane Plus doesn't work nearly as well as it does at Kings Island or Carowinds. For one thing, you have the ride capacity issues that have become increasingly problematic at Cedar Point over the last few years, but in addition to that is the way Fastlane works on many of their attractions. Rather than having a separate queue for Fastlane the way other parks in the chain do, at CP there is often a merge point. And if you aren't familiar with the system at Cedar Point, this just means that when you enter Fastlane, you will eventually come to a point where a line separator will tell everyone in the standby queue to wait as they let Fastlane customers skip ahead. This really isn't a great way to do this, as not only does it create an irritating experience for guests in the standby queue, but it also often means that from the merge point on, you still have a decent chunk of time to wait before you can board. So really not a great experience for either side of the line. Compounding all of this is the fact that Cedar Point most likely sells too many of these passes. You only need to look at the pen they put into Steel Vengeance's queue for Fastlane Plus customers to see that in the park's mind, they're fine with overselling these passes and still making people who purchase them wait in fairly long lines for most of their popular attractions. Another thing to point out, while not something the park can really control, is that many Cedar Point attractions are frequently down due to high winds or other weather problems. So if you're purchasing a Fastlane Plus ahead of time, you're running a higher than average risk that your favorite rides won't be open the day that you get there, at least a higher risk relative to other parks. What this all adds up to is that rather than feeling like a splurge that gives you special line-cutting privileges for a day, as it does usually at their other parks, having a Fastlane Plus wristband during a busy day at Cedar Point can leave you feeling like you've paid an exorbitant amount of money to wait in what you might consider reasonable but still fairly long lines at almost any other park, which is essentially what you've done. This is somewhat less than ideal for a premium product costing as much as $250 a pop. So, with all that said, is Cedar Point Fastlane Plus worth it? Well, unfortunately, that's kind of where they have us by the metaphorical balls. The fact of the matter is, the wait times for rides at Cedar Point can be absolutely brutal through much of the operating season in the standby queue. On the worst days of the year, the standby lines can be up to an hour on the low end just for the older rides like Gemini or Iron Dragon, and up to a staggering endurance challenge at 4 hours for Steel Vengeance, arguably the park's premier attraction. So, other than the VIP tour package, which went for around $500 per person this past summer, and if you're the kind of person who can plot down that kind of cash for a single day at Cedar Point, then Papa bless. But for the rest of us, Fastlane Plus is still going to be the best way to get the best best experience out of your visit to Cedar Point. All of that in spite of the fact that it's the weakest version of this product I've experienced throughout the Cedar Fair chain. So, yeah, it's worth it if you can afford it, and especially if you rarely get to take a trip to Cedar Point. Fastlane Plus is going to get you a far superior experience at America's roller coaster than going without. In fact, I think I'd even go as far as to say that unless you're a diehard coaster fanatic or someone who absolutely has their heart set on a visit to Cedar Point, I'm not sure I'd even recommend taking the trip if you don't plan to purchase Fastlane Plus, at least not during most of the summer or the latter part of Hollow Weekends. At the moment, the regular admission experience at Cedar Point is too often just not a good time right now. At least not the way the park is operating the last few years. All of this is something I really do hope gets rectified at the park soon. So, in summary of all this, Cedar Point's Fastlane Plus is the most expensive in the chain, despite being a markedly inferior product than the versions offered at some of their other properties, and that sucks. But I can't see myself ever visiting this park again without one, so take that for what you will. If you're interested, I also have a video about the meal plan offered at Kings Island, as well as another recommendation that should be popping up on your screen right about now. Anyway, folks, that all clear means I'm up, and out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.